very important messages. Let me say a few words in response. Just saying that it's interesting that the economists, when they discuss action on climate change, they do cost-benefit analysis, and they tell us how much it's going to cost the economy and how much it's going to benefit us if we actually undertake the energy transition. And always the benefit from taking action is much higher, maybe 5 times at minimum higher than the cost of taking action. So the message is clear. We should, even though we keep talking about, and we do here with corporations, about the cost of the transition, and it's too costly and too expensive. Why it's costly is because we're not cooperating. It's because we fear that if we don't take action, if we take action on the other hand, it'll cost us, others will get away scot-free without taking action, and nothing will happen. So key to the issue is cooperation, which is the message that you gave. Also, as an educator, I very strongly take on board your concern about what we should be doing. At some stage in the panel, we discussed a project that I'm also engaged in about promoting SDGs for universities, and it has to do with how we reshape our courses so that students recognize the way in which whatever we're teaching is actually connected to the values that we want, the SDGs that we want to achieve, and also show within our own university how we take action to achieve these things. If we want to reduce energy, are we doing it at our universities? Are students seeing us act and participating? So I very strongly support your messages. So let me come back to my initial question then. How, from your perspective, and you can either one answer, move from activism to showing us how we should cooperate, how we should become partners, and how youth can actually engage in decision making. That might be what you need to do. It also, to a large extent, has to do with what we need to do.
Yeah, I would like to make a few comments on that. I think there is often this misconception that we start by stating what our vision is, doing some activism, and then that stops there. But this is not the case. Whether it's because I've seen people younger than myself, younger than 15, starting their own startups, raising money, actually being able to collect data or save an endangered species. But that doesn't end there. How we can actually affect the policies is by taking part in not just youth councils, but becoming actual active citizens and being encouraged through political education, which is currently missing at our schools, to be active citizens and to take part into debates, discussions, and policy making. So to get to my point is, I think a youth that is ready to take action requires more political education on the one hand, and on the other hand, there need to be more opportunities for youth to actually voice their opinion, and not just as decoration, but their ideas need to be implemented, need to be need to be actually considered. And I think that there's this quite broad spectrum from manipulation, which happens when young people are used just as decoration. Oh yes, we heard you, we're doing our own thing, until actual youth participation, where with the cooperation of older people, mentors who have the expertise, we can together work towards a more sustainable future.
Great, thanks.
Well, what I would say is that now we see the generation of activists that started FFF, Fridays for Future, those kind of movements, now becoming doers. As Dora also mentioned, we're not just dreamers anymore. We are indeed doers, and I've seen so many youth actually driving change through their workspaces, through taking initiatives in the private sector. the point is how we bring this all together and how we make sure that this innovation and how this action that we see is taking account and it's represented also in decision-making tables. And of course, this is not an initiative that we have we have a certain power, but we don't have the actual opportunity to make this meaningful. So this is what I would say regarding that point. And I would also make a little note that despite this generation of ours have moved towards this field of actually doing, there's the activist part is still in place, and youth are very vocal about intergenerational fairness and about its connection to climate change. So I would say these 2 points.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very
I'd
much.
like to just put a point to you. Forgive me if this comes across as gloomy. It's not intended to. But I do belong to that generation that's fairly pessimistic about things quite often. One of the saddest legacies I think that our generation is leaving to yours isn't just that we have a climate problem. It's that in very recent years, very recent times, we're creating a situation where you will have to relitigate the battles that we thought we'd won. You will have to relitigate the battle for command of the facts. So we're starting from a point of disadvantage because there is a momentum in the world that is pushing back against gains that we thought we had already banked. Are you ready for that? And how do you go about, in your mind, how do you go about doing it? So, you're doers, not dreamers. What you want to do is bring down rates of production of fossil fuels and get to work in decarbonising the economy. But you have still to fight this battle of ideas.
Can I just add something that I recently read that enhances your point? Apparently, a recent survey showed that among the young, there's a turn towards the kind of right-wing, anti-woke, denialism, and so forth, which is, we've always associated the young as being idealists and the movers. So this is part of what Alistair is saying. I think that how do you deal with that concern? Are you seeing that yourself, and how does one address that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think this topic does not only concern climate change, but an overall turn towards the more conservative side, which can notably be been documented in our generation as well, when looking at the election results. I think it's really a scary attempt when we're trying to renegotiate things that should be certain when we're talking about human rights, which is part of why climate justice is so important, because when we're talking about climate change, it's about students not being able to go to school. It's about the fertility rates going down due to the high temperatures. So I think that I don't think the right way to go about it is trying to approach people that do not believe in climate change with logic. It's more about showing the data, showing the proof, and working together with all those who are interested and who believe in our vision and share the same ideals as we do.
Well, I think that many of the people my age, at least, think that we're in the midst of a period that feels like it's filled of polycrisis and also permacrisis. I'm sure you're familiar with the terms. So it seems like it is a dead end. But what I would say is that system change sounds a lot, cliche, but it is exactly that what we are in need of. And I mean, we are in great need of state initiatives, but also, since we are at a sustainability event, and we have many people representing the private sector here, so I would say that it's also very important to have a sense of responsibility and actually claiming that and acting upon that. And of course, achieving sustainable development goals, you yourself, of course, will know that it is important to work together and leave aside some characteristics of modern day that sound a bit cliche about the private sector. Profit, 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 that is. So I think that the private sector has great influence. And I mean, you must feel it, those of you that are in the private sector. I would give you just a very interesting number. Last year, I was at the conference of the parties of the UNFCCC. Of course, I was part of the national delegation, also the delegation of UNICEF, but I had many, colleagues, young people who were from NGOs. The delegations of the lobbyists of certain companies were about 1,500 lobbyists, much more than NGO delegations. So we can see there the influence and the power that certain industries have to drive that kind of change. Yeah. So that would be my point.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we've gone way over time, but I think it was worth it. It's been great to hear your voices. I hope we hear more of you and more of your generation over the coming years. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very
much. Please thank our panelists. Thank you.